So, good morning. Last night I couldn't go live because my internet was blocked. I had not paid my subscription, but anyway, I've managed to pay it. And yeah, I will come back live tomorrow. Today is Saturday, so tomorrow Sunday I'll be live. But in the meantime, there are just a few things that I wanted to clarify. First of all, the issue of I won't touch Brand Mundu with it. I'll leave it there. Then there is the issue of the Mao Sampa judgment. That judgment, yaba PF. Then there is the issue of kwa Gary Nkombo, and the issue of fuel. 3 issues. So I'm just giving a snippet of my views on these 3 issues. I think let me start with the issue of fuel. When the war started in the Middle East, I came out here and sounded a warning that whilst the war was happening in the Middle East, far away from Zambia, the ramification of that war had a negative bearing on our country, on our economy. I did sound this warning. And of course, now it is almost a month, and a number of countries are feeling the impact, particularly when you talk about fuel. A number of countries are having shortages of fuel. Some countries have had their fuel prices, tripled, and some countries don't even have fuel. It is a huge challenge, and this challenge it is global. It is everywhere. It has cut all cross countries. I don't know which country. A number of countries are affected by this. And this is why Donald Trump is actually pressed to stop that war. And unfortunately, it's like what they say, the whatever has hit the fan. And it is everywhere. Everybody is smeared with this nonsense. So, unfortunately, I saw, Zambia as we are, cheap politicians, people who are not patriotic. This is a time that we are supposed to be patriotic, when looking at some of these issues. Now, I've seen that some politicians are taking advantage of it now. They are talking about fuel. Akainde ichilema. Whatever. West off Make Bizulu. Abo. You see? This is Make Bizulu visiting one of the filling stations. And there is a statement that, they are condemning government for not had prepared themselves or not looking into it and whatever nonsense. This is a global crisis because of the war in the Middle East. So it is absurd and really deceptive for any politician to start talking about President Hakainde Hichilema, UPND government. Really? At this point in time, we're supposed to be patriotic and encourage one another. Okay? And just for you to get a feeling of what is happening in other parts of the world, let me play this video, which was done by this guy from America. Just watch this video.
The world was warned this could happen, and now it actually is. The Philippines just became the first country in the entire world to declare a state of emergency because of fuel shortages linked to the war in the Middle East. This is because a staggering 98% of the fuel that the Philippines imports needs to pass through the Gulf region. And it's not just them. The whole world is now facing its biggest restrictions on fuel since COVID. Slovenia just became the first EU state to begin fuel rationing, so you can now only buy 50 liters max of fuel per day. Meanwhile, the IEA has now advised their 32 member countries, which include the likes of Australia, Germany, Japan, France, and the UK, to implement various fuel-saving measures, including even lowering their highway speeds by 10 kilometers an hour. China have temporarily banned fuel exports to protect their domestic supplies. Australia are facing what's described as a national crisis, where hundreds of their petrol stations are running dry from panic buying and shortages. South Korea have begun considering work-from-home policies and have also introduced price limits for fuel for the first time in decades, along with other countries like Croatia, Hungary, Brazil, and Thailand. Cuba are really struggling this week with numerous countrywide power cuts, only made worse by the fuel shortages. Japan will begin their biggest ever release of oil from their strategic reserves this week.
So you see, some countries are even declaring, an emergency. They are even declaring an emergency. So I think to be patriotic, let's avoid, politicizing everything. In this instance, we're supposed to stand united as a country to see how we can, mitigate the situation, not if you're politics. Moving away, let me go to the issue of Gary Nkombo. Gary Nkombo is one of those people that a number of you have been trying to woo. You have been trying to woo him into getting into opposition, to stand against Hakainde Hichilema, to be against the UPND. But ndamyebali osatama politics te abana. Gary Nkombo is an experienced politician. Gary Nkombo is an experienced politician. He knows. Ama politics ngo ambo kula fisenda emotional. Ukula yumfwa. Each time you put yourself up there, proud. When you don't have the power, you're in problems. Ama politics, you need to be wise. You need to know when to kneel. You need to know when to crawl. You need to know when to prostrate. You need to know when you can lift your voice. You need to know when you can, flex your muscles. Otherwise, you'll be thrown in the track like in Nyasuru yesterday. You'll be thrown in the track like in Nyasuru. So, and some of us, we have learned it the harder way. So when I talk myself, I talk out of experience. I talk of things that I've gone through. Palasti, waisanga mu exile, ule shupikwa shani uko. So, be very careful. I'm even seeing some of these aspiring politicians, aspiring members of parliament, the carton. Abantu mulei mwana kwati na mkwata sana support some candidates, some of these young guys, these aspirants, these new entrants in politics. They think that they have got support. They think that they are popular. And they are even arrogant, for me, it is just the people, whatever. Muntwandi, it's one thing to be ubiquitous, to be famous, whereby it's one thing. It's another to convert that popularity into votes for you to be elected. Iyonde mieva yalikosa. Ama politics yalikuwa tafe spirit yaiko. Umuntu aliwa very popular. Ese minine, awe, nakalia so, asanga utuma votes takuti. So, muchenjele sana, mwilai kunta, mufifuwa. Basically, what Gary Nkombo is doing is the best way. And I want to say, my brother, what you are doing, I think is the best way. Keep on pledging loyalty to President Hakainde Hichilema and the UPND, and just avoid, being in harm's way. Avoid being in harm's way. I think that's all I can say. So, those of you who are thinking that, no, Gary Nkombo will do this, I don't think he'll do that, because if he did, it would be a big mistake. I can also say the same thing to some of UPND members, some senior UPND members. Some of you UPND members, you have been scheming around. By the way, there was that fake letter that came up at, which was written about the convention. I want to tell you that UPND has been working underground, preparing for the convention. UPND has been working underground to prepare for the convention. And some of us who have just been quiet, not to amplify that, because even they wanted to keep it quiet. But this has been going on. The convention has been, the preparation for the convention has been going on. But I'm talking about it now because I have picked it up that there are some senior members who want to be funny. I want you to learn from Nkombo. Learn from the posture of Nkombo as your senior politician, a politician who has been there for some time. Look at his attitude. It is not that Nkombo is stupid. Nkombo is not stupid. So imwe bale toloka mukati umumuli chisefya kuchita ndebnyeba you'll be bent. Ama politics te yabana. And it's not about no akainde ichilema whatever. Ama politics for yaba fie muntu wandi. Ama politics yari kaba. Anyway, Nkombo, keep it up with that. There is also I would have touched on the Justice Minister, Madam Kasune. I will not say much. I wish I could, but I will not say much. But all I can say is that, Honorable, at Nkombo, ubulungota bwa afya. I think for Madam Kasune, that is all I'm going to say. Nkombo, ubulungota bwa afya. I'll repeat that. Nkombo, ubulungota bwa afya. My politics, yarikosa. And if you like, you could take some time to read about Ugandan politics, particularly leading to their convention this year. They had a convention this year. Was it this year or November? Yeah, I think it was November. They had a convention. And hello? Sorry? Rider? Oh, okay. I'm coming down. Okay, so there is I have to go and get something. So what was I saying? Yeah. Anyway, let me even leave that because I have to go down. The next point that I want to talk about is the issue of Mao Sampa. The issue of Mao Sampa, I'm a politics again. One would have expected that when you say 1 minus 1 is equal to 0, 1 minus 1 is equal to 0. But in politics, no. Sometimes 1 minus 1 is equal to 1. In politics. What am I trying to say? What I'm trying to say is that KaChabinga at the moment is the one that is president of PF. And yesterday we had that judgment which a lot of people were expecting. Okay? We're expecting. And with the outcome of yesterday's judgment, you would have expected that today Mao's would have been president for PF. But unfortunately, Mao's is not the president of PF. KaChabinga is still the president of PF. So, 1 KaChabinga minus, there is a court case which happened yesterday, which says, no, the convention of 2023 was legal. Okay? And you would have expected that Ukuk side Yalavati KaChabinga out now is no more. But KaChabinga still continues. Why? Here is the thing. There are a number of cases in PF. At the moment, there are 4 cases. To start with, there was a case where Ngona sued Mao's. Munkonkeko buno. Ngona sued Mao's. When Mao's Sampa fired Chavinga. After Mao's akpangaka fake convention kakwaka, which has been upheld by this judgment. So that convention here kwa Mao's has been upheld. But anyway, after Pangakalaka convention, which I say still fake. After Pangakalaka convention, then he went to Walungu, threw my pictures, and he wanted to fire Ngona. Ngona, actually he fired Ngona. He fired Chavinga. Ngona went to court to say, Mao sampatakwe tamaka ya kunchita fire. Mao sampatakwe tamaka ya kunchita fire. And if anything, we have actually fired Mao's. Okay? And Mao's also sued Ngona. So why chita sue? Ngona was suing Mao's to say, Mao's sampata kwe tamaka. Neo kwe tamaka ninevo. Ninevo. So, epale fumina, iliantuan kane presidency ya KaChabinga. Because after I takwe tamaka, andamu fumia mupati, he even appointed now, he appointed Chavinga. Mwamona? Mao sampaka convention. Ka convention kuli balungu. Am kunotina balungu. Am kunotina balungu atamfia Ngona. Ngona he said, no, you can't fire me. Amuchita fire instead. Amuchita fire Mao's. No kuchita appointi Chavinga. Mwamona? Ukufumapo, Chavinga, Ngona, gozi, suzi, Brenda Nyirenda, saying takuli wambiwa PF. Brenda Nyirenda was appointed by given by Edgar Lungu, remember? So Brenda Nyirenda basically was representing Avena Edgar Lungu, so to say. But Ngona sued Brenda in Kabwe to say, you can stop masquerading as PF. I'm the only PF. I'm the only Secretary General. You are Brenda, you cannot be Secretary General. I'm the Secretary General. So, ya Brenda, amakaba mutashani, frozen. Mao Sampa amakaba mutashani, frozen. Ukweta makanomba, Chavinga. Then, ilia court case. Eya ishiria ya kuna nikane ku High Court. Ku High Court, the court ruled, basically, Mao Sampa, not that they did rule on the issue, but basically they threw out the matter. So when they threw out the matter ya kwa Ngona, when they threw out the matter, it meant that the decision that Mao Sampa made on Ngona was valid, okay, or was effective. Unfortunately, Ngona appealed that matter in the Court of Appeal. He appealed. So since he appealed, that status quo, here kwa Mao's, whereby Mao's cannot practice as president, still remains. But there was now this other court, case, whose judgment was passed yesterday. This case was between Brian Mundubira and others versus Mao Sampa. Basically, what they were saying is that no, that convention was illegal. Unfortunately, court ruled to say, well, you haven't proved enough case. You haven't proved your case. So, basically, Mao Sampa has remained as president of PF. Unfortunately, he cannot practice as PF because Ngona has crippled him in a matter which is now in the Court of Appeal. And from the way I see it, and from the way I understand court issues, this matter will not be disposed of before the elections. We are seeing this case going on maybe even until the end of the year or even next year. So, essentially, Ngona and the Chavinga will keep on acting as president. I hope I've helped to make you understand. Yeah, the judgment yesterday, yes, said okay, Mao Sampa remained president, but he cannot practice as president because of the injunctions. And there are two injunctions, by the way. The one in Kabwe, the injunction also in the appeals court. There is another injunction against now Avena Makebi, because Ngonana was sued also. Avena Makebi Avena given to Winda to say they had a convention. So even those they cannot act. Essentially, everybody is tied up. In as far as PF is concerned, everybody is tied up. Nobody can do anything. Chavinga and Ngona still remain in power because they have locked up everybody in court. I thought I could explain that, and I hope it has made sense. Anyway, tomorrow I will come. I will be we'll talk about these issues. If there are issues that you want me to clarify, we can talk then tomorrow. For now, I have to go down. Thank you very much. Sorry for the inconvenience for yesterday. Unfortunately, I couldn't do any other way. Yeah, that was the situation. Bye for now.